Okay, fire signs, welcome to your daily focus tarot for today, Tuesday the 23rd. So the first two cards that came out were Death and Strength. So Death is about transformation, not about a literal death. It's more like the death of the ego, as opposed to like the death of the body or the death of the soul type of thing. It's a transformation card. So this death always makes me think of the thinker, and sometimes it makes me think of justice because this looks like a traditional column behind him, this right here, or her. So this death, the statue of the thinker, right? Thinking, pondering life, pondering existential questions, and this death kind of twisted. One hand, it's hard to tell if he is trying to improve his hearing by like putting his hand there to the ear, or if he's trying to like block what somebody is saying and cover up his ear, or block her, her cries, the cries of the background, the cries of justice. So this card, being about transformation, death is in green, right? Death being in green, it's about abundance, it's about growth, and there is growth and transformation, right? Every time you go through something, it changes you. Sometimes it's a small change, sometimes it's a massive change, right? And this figure in the background, the only gold in this image are the circles in the corners up at the top. They're balanced, and they're balanced with the circle that you can partially see behind death, right? And then these circles have wings going inwards from these columns here. You can kind of see the column, you kind of can't. It's a little more obvious, like I said here. So this is almost like death thinking about justice and the transformation and growing, and how to grow through that balance, through that through making something right that was made wrong. And this is something in the past, because the rest of the card is in that sepia tone. It's in that I think it's octopus or squid that the ink comes from for sepia or sepia. So this is, opening the gateway to the past and to transforming through what you've been thinking about, what you've been hearing and learning about the past, and making that right, making that balance. And the clarifier is the Lover's card. So the Lover's card used to be called the Choice, and it's talking about, well, obviously a couple, but it's also, so sometimes it can be talking about a choice between two people or two things, but it's talking about a choice towards a new beginning, towards innocence, towards love. And I don't necessarily mean love in terms of a couple. It can be, but it can also be a choice towards loving somebody else. Like when we talk about forgiveness not being for the person who committed the wrong against you, but being for yourself, so you can move on, so you can grow through the experience. That's the kind of love that I'm talking about here. So this can be about getting justice, getting transformation by making the choice. The second card that came out was Strength, and this is not strength in a physical sense. It can be. It's more about strength from your internal, from your soul, from your entire being, from your entire not just the past in this life, but the past in all lives, from your experience and the experience of other people too. So if you're spiritual, you can call on spiritual guides, you can call on deities, you can call on ancestors for their knowledge and their strength, their inner wisdom, their inner strength, for an answer. The clarifier for strength was Nine of Wands. Now, Nine of Wands is talking about, much like strength, it's emphasizing here this inner strength, this inner ability to persevere. Because this also talks about using your inner resources, having resilience, being determined, being persistent, having hope, having that passion, that fire for a new day. Even though where you're standing, the ground that you're standing on, it's solid, but it needs defending, right? And so this card is talking about having that inner strength to defend the ground you're standing on and be persistent, but also be looking towards that fire, that passion of a new day. It sometimes means caution. I'll read to you a little bit from the Druidcraft, because the Druidcraft actually puts a lot of these cards really well for me. I was called to this deck when I asked for a deck that I could do readings for myself and others for, and I wouldn't have picked it up, but I felt the call towards it, and the writing is actually really good in it. For Nine of Wands, it says, you may have battled your way through life, a characteristic of the Wands, and your sense of being wounded in the past may have made you isolate yourself as a means of defense. The challenge now is to open to wholeness and healing. Like I was talking about forgiving, that's your challenge. That's the transformation that death and this choice is going to bring for you. It's going to bring that transformation for wholeness and healing. It also mentions that it can be hard to fully accept your achievements, your strength, and your talents. So, accepting who you are brings about transformation. And that's accepting both the good and the bad parts of yourself. And there's nothing wrong with having bad parts. Everybody does. The best thing to do is to balance it, to make the choice to balance out the good and the bad within ourselves. I asked the Unicorn deck for clarifiers. It says, one step at a time. Lots of little steps make big dreams come true. And you'll notice that this is in front of like a fire burning. I don't know if I can get it to focus. Maybe if I put it down there. There you go. This is like a fire burning at Stonehenge. And the henges were to celebrate, excuse me, still a little bit sick and losing my voice. Sorry for that. They were to celebrate the solstices. So the balance between light and dark, or the balance between the physical and the spiritual. Some people would say good and evil. So this fire burning, this is passion, it's knowledge, it's the will to live, the instinct, the growth. it is the new beginning. And this card is also talking about balance. Balance one step at a time. The card underneath it, with this long road down from the mountain, be yourself. You're a great person. Enjoy being yourself. And then underneath that, the third card that called to me, happy surprise. Something very good is about to happen. So through this persistence, through going one step at a time, using your inner strength, you're going to have this transformation. Focus on keeping your inner strength, keeping your determination, looking for that fire, looking for that passion and that new day, that new beginning. You're like the phoenix rising from the ashes, you know. So have a good Tuesday. I'll see you tomorrow.